Isn't it a cute little car, Mrs. Wizard?
It is cute and interesting.
It's like a cute little box on wheels.
You do like square cars.
Yep. Let's take a look at this Mini Cooper. Let's get started. So a lady dropped this 2010 Mini Cooper off, and the question I had in my mind is, what do you call the lady who drives a Mini Cooper? What is it, Mrs. Wizard?
She's a Mini Cooperette.
A Mini Cooperette?
Yeah.
I guess if you get caught driving your Mini Cooper, you're Mini Coopin'. I don't know. These are cool little cars, and they're spunky. They got pretty good power for their size. This one is a Mini Cooper S. It is a turbocharged model, although I prefer the supercharged ones for that intoxicating whine noise that they make. This one came in with check engine light, and like the end of the world is coming, and it ended up being actually something very simple. It doesn't always have to be $5,000 to fix your European car. This one's just going to be in the few hundreds. The customer is very happy about that, and I'm very happy because it keeps the customers coming back. The next time it breaks, they don't even think about calling us up because they're not worried about us giving them the shaft financially. Let's take a few steps. It won't take very many steps. Let's take a few steps around it and look at it, then we'll pop the hood on this thing. It has a little badge on it, Mini 50, and a California plate. We can see it's missing the little headlight washer cover. That's not that huge of a deal. I do like the color. It's like a pearl silver. There's a little gouge there, a little scratch. I do like the wheels, although they're dirty because of the winter weather we have right now, but they look like fan blades. They look good to me. Well, we've taken about 5 steps and we're at the end, Mrs. Wizard.
It was a short trip.
Yep, it's a short car.
That too.
As we go around the back, looking pretty good back here. I do like the twin exhaust tips in the back, in the center. That's really sweet looking. There is a little gouge there. One thing I've always thought strange about Mini Coopers is the tire is literally in line with your tail light. So if you get into an accident, you are going to break your rear axles and rear everything. It just smashes the whole rear end up.
Maybe they're counting on the tire as part of the bumper system. You just hit the rubber on the tire and bounce back.
It could be. I'd rather the car break than for me to break, so that makes sense. And on this side, another little ding here, but nothing very serious, all little small stuff. So, in good shape otherwise. Let's go ahead and pop the bonnet, as they would call it in England, and take a look. So one thing to keep in mind as we're looking at the engine here is the check engine light was on, and we did check for codes, and according to the codes, like I mentioned, it was the end of the world. There was misfire 1, 2, 3, and 4. There was mass airflow sensor codes. There was map sensor codes. There was like 5 or 6 different codes, and if you were at a shop that was not very reputable, they could print off these codes and really scare you into a $3,000 bill easily. You need new coils, you need new plugs, you're going to need new timing chain work, you're going to need, and it needs none of that. None of that was wrong with this car at all. I got the part that was bad. Let me grab it. The intake boot, intake duct. Right at the turbo, it was crumbling and coming apart from age and oil vapor. You can literally just break pieces off of it. It cracked so bad that it was just sucking in air, unchecked air. So as you see, it has a brand new duct in place. Everything's nice, clean, good shape. We cleared the codes and it was happy. It drives perfectly fine now. No more check engine light. It did have a valve cover gasket that was leaking. We went ahead and replaced that as well. Again, nothing serious. This is the 1.6 liter turbocharged inline 4, roughly 170 horsepower, 175 pounds of torque, give or take a few. It's not a powerhouse, it's not a torque monster, but for such a small light car, it actually is very fun to drive. Being that this is a BMW product, these are known to have all kinds of little plasticky, breaky hoses and lines, and just like you saw in the intake duct, plastic things and rubber things that just crack and break into pieces. This one was no exception. Luckily, it wasn't that expensive. So let's head on into the interior and see what we got in there.
Okay, ladies and gents, well, nothing's on. Well, because these have an interesting key. It's kind of a little puck. And all we do is we come over here, slide it in, get it lined up probably, slide it in, and it comes to life. Aha. Now, we push this info button, and we can see that this has 123,000 miles on it. So it does have quite a few on here, but other than a little bit of dirt in here, it's looking really good. And outside, just a few minor little spots here or there. So if we look at that dash, it's not cracked. Definitely could use some sort of a cleaner up there to kind of, get rid of a few of those marks. It does have a really interesting white and silver striped dash strip across it. And beneath that is kind of a pebbly kind of leatherette kind of material below that. And that does run across, and they do run across all the way from passenger to driver's side. There is a huge speedometer, huge in the center. And it does say it could do 160. I don't know. That's pushing this one a little bit much. As we slide down, the HVA system is really pretty interesting as well. It does have simple cup holders. And if we peek around there, it does kind of look like it could be a manual shifter, but it's not. We'll get the bag out of the way. No, there it is. It's an automatic. As we move to the passenger seat, we can definitely see something we've not seen in a car before. And obviously, she loves her puppy. He does have a basket up here that he gets to ride in and sit next to her all the time. So that's kind of fun. But underneath that, we can see that there is a seat that's got a mix between this leatherette material and some nice fiber materials as well. And it looks like it's pretty durable. We can lift up a little bit. We know we don't remove things from our customers' cars or move things too much, but there we go. It looks good. No tears, no rips. It does have some nice silver accents on that door card. And it does kind of carry on a very nice curvilinear theme as we move through the car. Back seat actually is pretty good sized back there. I wouldn't say there's gargantuan amounts of leg space, but I've seen some bigger cars that have less space than what's provided here. Now, mind you, there is no cargo space back there behind that seat, or if anything, something very thin is going to go back there. So not hauling too much in here. So not the typical grocery getter for if this was a 4-person family. Up here on the headliner, looks good. Nothing crazy going on. No major tears, no major rips, not sagging. And as we look up here at our controls, we have more of these curves. They're kind of nice, kind of protecting, but it also separates between each of the different control options that are there. Last stop again at our steering wheel. We can see again, Mini Cooper here in the center of our steering wheel. Simple controls here on the side as well to keep that focus hopefully in front and not over there at that big, huge speedometer. Nonetheless, I'm curious what this looks like underneath. Let's get this up in the air.
So we won't have very many steps to get to the back of this car, but in those small number of steps can be a very large amount of problems. It is a BMW product after all. And when you heard me pulling in to get onto the lift, you heard all kinds of BMW noises, boop, 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 and all the, it's like I'm sitting in a 5 Series or something. It's crazy. But let's take a look and see what we find. Here's our radiator. It's literally right under this lip up front. I mean, it's literally right there. So if you get into an accident in one of these, a lot of things are going to be broke really fast. I still think they're cool. There's our intercooler there. The pipe goes down, it goes across, and straight back up. Everything's nice and dry there. Here's our oil pan. It's nice and dry. Our AC compressor's not leaking. Our transmission is nice and dry. Check out these wheels. Brake pads are 80%. Nothing loose there. The CV boots look good. Sway bar link is good. There's a little bit of surface rust here on the frame and over here as well, but it's not too bad. Brakes are 80% there as well. CV boots are good. Sway bar link is good. Nothing loose there. So here's our catalytic converter. It comes all the way back to a little resonator chamber. Some more kind of a mid-pipe muffler. Here we arrive at the fuel tank. And like I said, we didn't take very many steps and we're already at the rear of the car. Kind of interesting how they do the exhaust. It doesn't split off to go to the different sides of the bumper. It just stays right straight through to the middle and right out the back. Check out these wheels. It's got some Bilstein shocks on it. Pads are about 50%, but they're still good. Nothing loose. Sway bar link is tight. That's just water from the test drive it was just on. Brakes are good there. Sway bar link is good. Shocks are good. Nothing loose. Some more of that little bit of rust. Luckily, rust isn't a big heavy problem here in Kansas. And here's up above the muffler and around, there's nothing. Looks like something could bolt here. Maybe a different option or a different package. Maybe exhaust. I'm not sure. A little bit more rust going on here. Nothing too bad. I don't see a spare tire though, Mrs. Wizard.
Yeah, I just noted that.
I don't think they have one. There's no room to put one. Well, let's check the tires before we get it on the ground. It has some pretty big wheels for such a small car. These are 17s and the tires are from 2021, so they're about a year old. They're still good. Let's get this thing on the ground. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Wizard, what are you doing?
I'm answering the phone. It just rang.
It's not a phone.
In the Flintstones it is. They talk in a horn. That looks kind of like one of their phone horn deals.
I guess this car is about as big as the Flintstones car, but this isn't foot powered.
I guess so. So, anyways, when you bring your car to the shop, especially Euro cars, don't buy into the fact that it needs to be $5 every time I get it fixed. If you talk to a friend who says, every time I go to so-and-so shop, I can't get out of there for less than $5, something's wrong. Something's wrong with that shop. This is going to be under $1,000, under $500 probably. It's going to be in the few hundreds. It's going to be relatively cheap as far as Euro car repairs go. And the car runs perfect now. The customer's wanting their car back tomorrow, and it didn't take very long. We got it fixed and get this thing back on the road. She'll be back when something else breaks. Because it's a Mini Cooper, something else is going to break. I guarantee it. It is a BMW product after all, and it has lots of breaky, cheap plastic stuff in it.
So, Car Wizard, could that plastic that broke off of that piece, could that have gotten into the engine?
It probably could have, but it didn't fall into pieces like it did until the engine was off and we removed it. Taking the clamp off literally just disintegrated. So it could have at some point probably, but luckily it didn't yet. It was just cracked and allowing a whole bunch of air in, past the airflow sensor, making it run really bad. So getting to this repair quickly and not ignoring it and saying, I'll get to that later, really saved her a lot of money. If she would have just said, I'm not going to worry about that, it could have gotten a lot worse. So I'm glad she got it in here so we can get it taken care of. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on this small, cute little car, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut. We really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because this cold weather is going to be gone next week and there's a lot more cars coming in. Thanks for watching.